hold up. Before we get to this video, can you guys please subscribe, like, and comment? I'm so excited for this journey, and I want you guys to see the journey with me. So go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. Come on, let's get to the video.
I'm confused.
What's up, YouTube? I'm Fitz, and I'm ready to talk. Look, I am back with the Real Housewives of Atlanta review. Season 15, episode 4, The Buck Stops in Birmingham. So we first start off with Kenya and Mayetta practicing for her halftime performance. She's going to be performing at Magic City football game. I guess it's a big HBCU event for homecoming. She's learning how to do the dance moves and stuff like that. She's doing pretty well, of course. The Kenya Moore hair care situation. And of course, we already know who's going to call Roy, her new little boo thing. Mayetta hooked her up with him. He gets on the phone and they're just kind of just Googling, and she's saying that she really likes him and he's a 9.6 in the bedroom and all this jazz. So that takes place. Then we go ahead and learn more about Mayetta's dancing background. Apparently she danced with Genuine, she danced with Prince. So I mean, you say Prince is like, okay, you actually can dance. Like, we all know how strict Prince was as an artist. So that's pretty damn good. So then we move on to Sanya's house. We're seeing Sanya and her mom and her sister sit down, and they're just kind of going over her schedule. And she calls her brother-in-law, who is now her assistant, and she's kind of running down the game, telling him like, hey, we got a lot of things we have to do today. Can you please make sure you do these returns? And he's like, yeah, he's going to handle it. He's going to do his thing. They hang up, and then of course Sanya is going to bring up the whole conversation that her and Ross had about Ross just wanted to kind of just be their immediate family, just being, him, her, and their son, so they can start making this next baby. And the sister seemed like she got very offended by it, and I was kind of confused because I'm thinking like in one of the episodes I remember her sister kind of being like, we're ready to leave, right? It was kind of like Sanya was the one that was like, no, I want you guys to stay. And even when Sanya and Ross was talking, she was pretty much saying the same thing, like, no, she's not ready for her family to leave yet. So that got a little confusing to me because the sister seemed like she was hurt by the conversation, but then in the past episodes we saw that the sister was kind of like she was ready to go. She was saying how she was kind of like her hairstylist. She was pretty much doing it all. She was like, she just Sanya's not as busy anymore because of course she's not in the Olympics anymore, so she's not as needed. She's not needed, so she might as well just go ahead and go start her and her husband and their kids go get their own household moving. So I was a little confused by that. So that conversation happened. That pretty much was the scene. And Sanya was just pretty much saying how she felt bad because her sister got emotional about Ross saying that he was ready for them to pretty much leave. And I don't blame Ross. Like, I completely understand. I'm the kind of person that I don't like to live with a lot of people either. Like, I could never do it. So then we go ahead and move on to Marlo. Of course, we've seen Marlo and her nephews. They're getting ready for their Halloween shoot. They do this every year. I will say Marlo has been killing it with her Halloween looks. Even though I'm not a big fan of Marlo, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Her Lil' Kim one was off the charts. Her damn Baps one was hilarious. So she does do her thing in that aspect. So I have to give it to her. So, they're getting their makeup done, or she's getting her makeup done. Her nephews get sent with her sister who comes, but then eventually her sister does sit down with Marlo, and they start discussing about, Marlo's past, the whole the felony she has, right? Like her slashing the girl in the face or whatever, allegedly, because I don't know. I don't got time to get sued. So her sister is just kind of like, that's the past, let the past be past. Marlo says she wants to get her background, expunged, because of course that's the thing of the past. She wants to be able to get a carry gun, because of course, if you're a felon, you're not able to have a licensed carry gun. So of course she's like, she wants to get expunged, and of course she brings up Candy. She says how she's been on Candy all these years, and Candy has never offered to help. But however, she did meet this new girl named Courtney. Y'all know how I feel about Courtney. This new girl named Courtney, and she's willing to help. And she's just saying like how, she's been on Candy all this time, never offered, but Courtney's new to the group and she's willing to help her. So it's just like, oh, good. But what's funny to me is that the flashback showed her lawyer giving her the rundown on how to get her, criminal record expunged. But she said that Courtney wasn't want to do it. So I'm like, Marlo, you just be lying. Like, what the fuck? Y'all might have a brief conversation, but come on. But we already see how Marlo is moving it on Real Housewives of Atlanta now. We see that she's like making up a storyline just to have a storyline, right? So we're seeing that. Of course, Courtney comes there. Now it's Courtney, Marlo's sister, and Marlo. They're sitting there talking, and they do bring up the whole shooting at OLG, which, from what I understand, it wasn't at OLG. It actually was at Blaze. Marlo brings up her nephew again, RIP, says how he actually met the person that shot him at OLG, or at Kenny's restaurant, because we know it's not OLG. It was actually at Blaze. But, you know, the original shooting was at Blaze that happened with her nephew, right? Not Marlo's nephew, but with Kenny's nephew. Did not happen at OLG. So, you know, she's kind of saying how OLG is having all these shootings, or, you know, Kenny's being tied to all these shootings. And it's just like, okay, whatever. So they want to have that. Of course, Courtney goes ahead and chimes in and just kind of like, yeah, she should be helpful. She should want to help her. And Marlo then says that, you know, run down the text messages, which I'm going to post the text message, and says how Kenny just nonchalant and didn't care once Marlo did let her know that her nephew did die from being shot from his roommate, which isn't true because Kenny clearly on the text message says sorry, you know, to hear that. So I don't know what else was she supposed to do? Like I said in my last review, was she supposed to kiss her feet? I mean, what else do you want to do? So they go ahead and that scene go ahead and move forward. They go ahead and just pretty much say that, you know, Kenny's a bad guy, of course, and Marlo's, but Kenny should be doing more. Kenny should be pushing all the women on Real Housewives of Atlanta to have a stable career and push them to make sure they're making the same means that she's making. Got it. Get it. Good. So we're going to move on to Sheree. Sheree is at the OBGYN. Of course, me as a man, I have no idea what happens behind those closed doors. But apparently, Sheree has been bleeding. They share everything. Has been bleeding. And apparently, she has the whole sonogram happen. And the doctor does let her know that she does have fibroids the size of a lemon. Which is so crazy to me because, like, damn, you can have something that big in your I'm assuming it's in your uterus. So, you know, it's crazy. She had a couple of sizes of a lemon. And she needs to either get them removed, or she can either do just get them, get them shrunk, get them removed, or she can go ahead and have her whole uterus removed. Of course, she brings a Martell and says, I guess it will take 4 weeks if you do just the shrinking and removing the fibroids. But if you decide to do uterus, you'll be out from 6 weeks to, I think she said, a month of no activity, if you know what I mean. So, of course, Sheree says that's not going to work. She can only do about the 4 weeks procedure. So, fine. So they go ahead and move on with that. And she knows why she has been having her heavy flow. So we go ahead and we're going to move on to Sonya. Sonya is at a photo shoot with her. I guess supposedly she's getting ready for a photo shoot for her family. And we find out she's sitting with her mom and dad. And we find out that her brother-in-law quit. Tyrell, I believe is his name. He quit. He no longer wants to work as her assistant. But we already found out previous, this was a situation that was supposed to be, short-lived anyway. Like, he is actually a real estate by trade, right? So that is actually what he was trying to do. But because real estate was so slow, he agreed to help Sonya. So, we know that wasn't going to be long-lived anyway. So she goes and says he quit. He said that the girl injury, because we know that it was, Sonya's mom, Sonya, and then her sister at one point were, helping run her career. So the brother-in-law was kind of like, the girl injury is just a little bit too much for me. I'm just going to bow out gracefully. And then she brings up the way the sister took the news hard. She kind of feels like that may be another reason why the brother-in-law quit, because the conversation she had with her sister saying that Ross just wanted it to just be them in the household and ready for her mom or sister and their kids and her dad and her brother-in-law to all move out. So whatever, we know that that was bound to happen anyway. I guess their plan was up to 2 years. They were going to work as a team, but they haven't made the 2 years yet. So Sonya's just kind of like taking it hard. She starts crying and just kind of saying, that she feels it's her duty when she's blessed to keep blessing her family. So I love that. That's cool. I like she has that mentality, but you can't force people to take the blessing, right? If they're ready to move on, willing and ready to move on, allow them to do so. Allow them to spread their wings and fly on their own. So that scene goes ahead and wraps up. And then we go ahead and move on to the ladies getting ready for Kenya's halftime show. Well, they don't know it's a halftime show yet. They just think that she's going to be just doing like a marching, right? They don't know if she's going to actually be the halftime show. Kenya Moore hair care will be actually starring. She's sponsoring it. So all the ladies are going up to Birmingham, Alabama to support her. Without Drew and Candy. Drew is sick and Candy has other obligations. So all the ladies, show up. They actually meet at Sheree's house, Chateau Sheree, because Kenya does let us know, hey, my damn driveway's too steep. She ain't trying to have nobody suing her, no accidents. So she said, you know what, we're gonna meet up at Chateau Sheree right around the corner, and all the ladies show up. They all show up, they get on the bus. Everybody makes it. Kenya is a little like, come on, y'all, we gotta wrap it up. Everybody get on the bus, we gotta go. Let's head there, because we got this drive ahead of us. So of course, they get on the bus. They just start chatting. Kenya asks Courtney if she's in a relationship. Courtney says it's complex. It's complicated, is what she says. Y'all know there's little stats on Facebook, complicated. And Kenya just kind of giggles it off. And then they chatted up. The girls are having a little good girl talk. I'm surprised Marlo and Kenya's getting along very well. They're kind of just chatting it up, which is going to be short-lived. We already know that. We know those two are like oil and water. They just do not freaking mix. And then they start talking about tossing salads. Now, don't knock something you ain't tried, but I was just like, okay, y'all, we've heard them talk freakier. They were all just talking so shocked, like, tossing a man salad, I would never do that, da-da-da. Kenya admits that she has done it before in the past, so it just is what the fuck it is. It's like, come on, y'all. It ain't that big of a deal. So they go ahead and do that. I know everything ain't for everybody, but like I said, don't knock it till you try it. So they go ahead and move forward, and they all finally do arrive. Let's go ahead and rewind it on back. So I actually forgot to mention other conversations they were having. Kenya did let them know what they're gonna be doing out there, and in Birmingham they have a class, dancing class. Before they're able to check into the hotel, they're gonna do a dancing class. And also conversation got brought up about Ralph and Courtney being cousins. Kenya does ask, well, how are you guys cousins? Courtney says she doesn't know. So that was a situation that I did want to make sure I inserted in, because it does become, I can see that becoming a situation, right? Like we already know, the blogs have already said that Drew and Ralph are no longer, they're trying to get divorced. So I'm just interested to see exactly how this whole cousin role gonna play. I ain't saying nothing. Y'all don't say I'm saying nothing, but it's a little interesting that, this whole cousin thing keeps being brought up. So I hope it's just gonna stay there, but we shall see. But I just want to make sure I brought that up. Ladies do arrive at the dance class. So apparently this dance class is going to be a bucking dance class. I had never actually been introduced. I mean, I know, dancing. I know I've seen it before, but I never realized that was called bucking until the Dance of Dolls. I don't know if you guys know, or watched the Dance of Dolls back when they were hot. A couple years ago, bucking was something they would do. So I was familiar when they said a bucking class. I was like, okay, that means you about to pretty much like do a little something like that, but y'all can't see my hips. So, the little something like that, but you're going to use your hips to push out as well, do a little something, 1, 2. So they go ahead and do that. Kenya goes ahead and says, okay, well, this is going to be a competition. All ladies do your best bucking dance routine, and you guys will receive a reward. Of course, Sheree wins the bucking. Well, I shouldn't say of course. I'm actually kind of shocked she won. But Sheree won the bucking dance contest. She actually gets the bigger room. So after the competition, the ladies go ahead and go to a restaurant to have dinner. They go ahead and meet up there. Of course, Kenya does let them know that after the dinner, they're going to go to a charity event. It's going to be a cocktail charity event. So they go ahead and sit down at dinner. And actually, Courtney does bring up her BD, which I'm like, damn, she really just trying to give him some time. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. Apparently, Kenya and him was in a movie too, similar to him and Drew. They were in Twa. That's what it was, Twa. I actually remember seeing that DVD at my parents' house when I was younger, so I know it was a little spicy because I remember it was something that I could not watch. So they were in a movie together, and she's like, oh, that's your BD, cool, whatever. Kenya does throw a little shade saying he was handsome back in the day, but she's gonna keep her comments to herself now. Life gets hard for people, so sometimes people don't age as gracefully as they should. So that goes ahead, they go ahead and do that, and of course her and Marlo start going at it. The conversation gets brought up about Marlo and Drew get into a little brief argument back and forth where Marlo goes fuck off. I put the clip on my last video where she's like, "Mommy, nephew died, bitch." Like she screams in her face and walks out. Like, talk about anger problems. Like she fucking flipped the fuck out. So and Drew just was like, what? Like, Drew was fucking lost. I was like, thank God it wasn't nobody else, because Marlo probably got reached out and touched from screaming in somebody's face like that, because that's just a no-no when it comes down to me and my character. I don't like people to come in my personal space yelling in my motherfucking face. That's an easy way for you to get touched. So anyway, that they go ahead and go back and forth. Marlo just pretty much is like what happened, or not Marlo, Kenya, the whole group is pretty much like what happened, because of course Kenya wasn't there. Nobody else was there but her and Drew during that time. So Marlo's just kind of like, you're being nosy, whatever. Like, I was not aggressive, because Kenya does share that Drew told her that she was aggressive, which she was. Like, girl, you screamed in somebody's face. Now, Drew did say that Marlo stood up over her, which didn't happen until she screamed in her face, which is probably what she meant. But Kenya, of course, took it as the whole time Marlo and Drew were standing up and Marlo was in Drew's face, which did not happen. Marlo just snapped at that one moment when she said what she said. So they're just going back and forth. I love Kenya though. Kenya just is, the thing about it is with Marlo and Kenya, they are each other's match. Like, Kenya is classy, Marlo is hood. Like, ghetto. Like, she says nasty ass shit. Kenya don't have to go as low. She can, but it's done so much more classier. Marlo just kind of just be like lost in the sauce when Kenya be reading her ass, and then she tries, but she just doesn't make sense. Like, she just talks just to be talking, and that's what Kenya was saying. Kenya's like, okay, so you just talking, just talk. Like, okay, got it, good. And Kenya tells her, well, you're not needed, you can go. Like, and Marlo, of course, is not gonna leave, because Marlo needs this airtime. Like, so she can't say, okay, well, bye, I'm about to leave. Marlo just sits there and just kind of goes back and forth and just says some bullshit. So that happens, whatever. So that little thing, they wrap it up. They are tipsy. They're ready to go ahead and go back to the room and get ready for this cocktail hour, this charity event. So they go ahead and go back, and the ladies, next time we see ladies starting to get ready. Then we see Kenya goes downstairs, and she's waiting for all the ladies to arrive. Everybody arrives. Oh, wait. Mayetta. What did you have on? Like, when she walked downstairs, I was like, what the fuck? She had on some type of like silver two-piece skirt with a jacket. It was just all wrong. And Kenya was like, that is not appropriate. You need to go upstairs to change, because it is, no. Meanwhile, Kenya has on a cocktail dress. Like, she said cocktail girl. So apparently, Maya does find a little black dress. She does call Kenya and say, hey, I found a little black dress. I'm going to change this. And Kenya's like, no, we ain't got time. So everybody else leaves Mayetta. So they all go ahead and go there to the charity event. And Mayetta arrives at the same time. So Mayetta throws a little shade. She's like, y'all could just wait for me, because we already arrived at the same time. So, whatever. So they get there, whatever. And when they walk in, before they even, because they kind of show like the room, before all the ladies even start really talking about how bad it looked, I was just kind of like, well, what the fuck kind of charity event is this? Well, charity. That makes sense. But it was supposed to be a cocktail. Like, I guess, I'm assuming they must be doing like some auctioning, or maybe for the tickets you paid to support the charity. So I won't even say that. I'm gonna go into the next thing before I even get into that, because this actually has dawned on me, probably how they sold those tickets, because I don't think people are just gonna pay tickets for a charity event and just, there's no type of reward there, unless it's the auction. Like, I don't think so. Whatever. So they just get there. They go ahead and they're like, what the hell kind of shit is this? Sheree was like, you could just left on your little poo-poo shorts, talking to Mayetta, whatever. I thought it was skirt, but maybe it was shirts. And then Mayetta just kind of giggles, whatever. So they just go ahead and walk. They go ahead and get a little section. They sit down. Before that, it's like a fanfare. Like, all the people that are there trying to take pictures with them. They're excited to see the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? Like, they're excited. They're like taking pictures, asking for, to see for selfies and all that shit. And they all, the ladies like, yeah, they're great. They seem gracious. All of them seem like they're kind of, chatting up with the guests or whatever. So that was cool. I thought that was pretty cool. They didn't get all stuck up. Although in their confessions, some of them were a little stuck up and just saying like, what the fuck where are we at? This is not no regal event like Kenya said it was going to be. So they go ahead and sit down, and they have some champagne, chill, they're just talking. And then out of nowhere, I guess the producer, Rich, tells Kenya like, hey, the charity, the charity doesn't want you guys here anymore, because they're saying that you guys are taking away from the charity, right? Everybody's paying attention to you guys being there, and taking away from, actually why they're there, right? Which we never understood. We didn't know why they were there. So that's I'm a little confused. But what I was going to say, when I stopped myself, did they sell those tickets as a way to see, like, since Kenya Moore was going to be there, was she like the bill, of the event? Like, was she there? Like, was she the one that was supposed to be why people were coming? Because that's fact, then okay, you guys should expect that people are she's gonna draw attention. Y'all invited her there, so what do y'all expect is gonna happen? Maybe they didn't know that all the ladies were gonna be there, but I mean, that to me, that would make it even like the icing on the cake. Like, hey, we got all these ladies to be here without a fee. Like, you know, they're just willing to be here and take pictures and mingle with the guests, you know, and people are getting their money's worth. So I just didn't understand why they asked them to leave. So the ladies go ahead and get their shit and they leave. They're like, they've been kicked out of better shit than this, which I ain't gonna lie, I'm sure they have. So they all was like, we out of here. So they go ahead and get on the bus. They go. Kenya, of course, says goodnight to the ladies, and she goes ahead and goes up to her room. Of course, she has her daughter there, so she's not sleeping, I'm assuming, not on the same floor as the other ladies. So, you know, Miss Marlowe, messy-ass Marlowe, gotta be annoying as fuck. Go ahead and get all the ladies to go ahead and knock on Kenya's door. And when I say knock, they ain't just knocking. They kick in the door, banging on the door, and I'm like, her daughter's in there. That's the first thing I think, like, her daughter's in there. Like, that's scary for a kid to be hearing somebody at the door banging like that. You know what I'm saying? And she may be asleep, because I'm sure it was pretty late at night by the time they got back. So, of course, Kenya comes there, and Kenya's pissed. Kenya's like, my daughter's in here. She's like, y'all doing the most. She's yelling at Marlo like, you fucking psycho. She's pissed. So that's pretty much where the episode ends. With Marlo and Kenya kind of having a little back and forth. Of course, Marlo just saying some dumb shit. Like I said, Marlo just says dumb shit. I realize Marlo just on this fucking show just to talk. Marlo has nothing to stand on when she says what she says. She's just gonna say anything out her ass, and that's the craziest shit, because as me and my partner were saying, Marlo was cool back when she was with Nene. We liked Marlo, but then now Marlo has become this weird ass, just says shit, fly from your damn seat of your pants person. It's just the weirdest shit, just to keep a peach. And it's like, that's not good, girl. You looking horrible. I did see on Twitter they had a hashtag saying fire Marlo. So fans aren't even liking you, girl. You're falling back in the same trap you were on last season. I thought you would learn from there, but apparently she did not. So all right, y'all, I'm going to get the hell out of here. That's all I got for this review. Please make sure you guys like, share, and comment. Make sure you guys all subscribe. Make sure you do comment. Like, I love when you guys comment. I want to hear what you guys thought about this episode. All right, I'm out of here.